how you got into this crazy world of IoT.
My name is Bartek Kling. I am CEO and founder of needCode's, a company providing embedded software services. I started around my teenager thanks to my grandfather, who showed me the world of the electronics.
So what was that transition like into becoming a founder, and why did you decide to take that journey?
I decided to check how I can help other founders, other investors in turning their ideas into reality.
And why is needCode a little bit different?
We are not just providing the consulting services, so we are not just fill the requirements. We really believe in the long-term relationship, deeply understanding of the challenges, asking difficult questions to the customers.
Why someone might want to work with needCode and where your crux of knowledge really is.
We have a very flexible approach to the customers, to the projects. We always offer the tailored solution. This is much more. This is engineering services and deeply understanding of the project goals.
Welcome back to the IoT Podcast. I'm your host, Tom White. Every week we are joined by the biggest names in IoT to unravel the trends, misconceptions and predictions for the Internet of Things. Before we get into today's episode, don't forget to subscribe on whichever platform you're watching or listening on and turn on that notification bell so you're never out of the loop. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the IoT Podcast Show. I am delighted to be talking to Bartek Kling today from needCode. Bartek and I have known each other for some years, and so I was really excited to get him onto the show to talk about his business. Bartek, welcome to the show.
Hello, Tom. Hello, everyone. Thanks for inviting me for this show. It would be a pleasure for me to talk to you, to share my thoughts about IoT and my business.
Excellent. So, as to kick off the podcast then, just to explain a little bit about you, Bartek, your background, your business, etc. Maybe you could start by saying who you are, where you're based, and how you got into this crazy world of IoT.
Okay, sure. So again, my name is Bartek Kling. I am CEO and founder of needCode's, which is a company providing embedded software services. I have technical background. I used to be an embedded software developer. I started around my teenager thanks to my grandfather, who showed me the world of the electronics. Then I went to the technical university where I joined scientific lab, where in fact I started doing embedded software. For all these years, it's right now more than 10 years of my experience. I started my career in automotive industry. However, I decided to go for something more generic, let's say, where I can use my skills and my experience for different types of the companies. So that's why I joined Krakow-based startup, and that's how my IoT and connectivity journey started. Right now, we are located in Poland, in Krakow, with a team over 30 engineers specialized in IoT, embedded software, especially the connectivity and low power systems.
Excellent. So this is a world I know really well. And actually, your story is quite interesting. You were inspired by your grandfather to get into electronics and to learn embedded. So myself and my grandfather, we used to work on these remote control cars, right? You know, the petrol powered and the electronic ones. And as a child, you know, used to mess around with servos and, you know, strip them and rebuild them, etc. And I went down that path into embedded engineering at university, actually, as well. So I think we share a similar background with that, Bartek, which is very interesting, very nice.
Yes, and I believe we also share the hobby. I also love the RC cars. I used to play much more in the past. Right now, I come back to that hobby together with my children. Finally, I had some time to combine hobbies and time spent with my family. So that's great.
Nice.
I believe we can talk later much more about that.
Absolutely. Yeah. So Bartek, obviously you were involved in businesses as an individual contributor, embedded engineer, and now you're the CEO and founder of a business called needCode. So what was that transition like into becoming a founder, and why did you decide to take that journey?
It was kind of the long journey when I decided to leave the automotive industry and join the IoT world, smart lighting things, Bluetooth Low Energy connectivity. I decided to check how I can help other founders, other investors and turning their ideas into reality. So that's why I started looking for a project on Upwork, where I met a couple of founders, couple of investors on the very early with their startups, where they can really benefit from my connectivity experience, my embedded software development experience. So I help them to build the proof of concepts and even MVPs for the investors for the next round of the fundraising. There were startups from United States and Western Europe, like Germany, and I completed a couple of projects like that. This helped me to understand the business. This learned me how to talk to the customers, how to transfer the requirements into the actual engineering work. That was a great challenge for me, as well as I learned a lot. Then I had an opportunity to leave a little bit the startup world and join the corporate world, having a proposal from Corvo, chip manufacturer, to join their team and build a Bluetooth mesh stack for them. After first 6 months, I get an opportunity to build a team around myself. I had a vast contact network in Krakow, in Poland. I started engaging people into this project, and it shows me that I don't only need to do project-wise approach as a founder and then the freelancer at needCode, but I can also provide the entire teams and slightly move into the outsourcing agency rather than the software house. Thanks to that opportunity, I was capable of growing needCode from one person to 30 people in almost 6 years. And right now, I would like to come back to offer also the project-based solutions together with an outsourcing. So that's on a journey. That wasn't a clear plan at the very beginning to build a company like that, but having all these opportunities and learning a lot during this journey, I'm here, and I believe this is a great opportunity for growing further.
Excellent. Well, yeah, it's a very nice transition, right? And clearly done very well to be able to do that. And I think it helps by having a business sizable enough to warrant the manpower required in order to make that happen. What have you learnt then in terms of being a founder and CEO compared to being an individual contributor? I would imagine you've got quite a few more challenges and things to tackle.
So for sure, having this transition from engineer into the business owner, into the CEO, I feel that marketing and sales was the area I need to learn a lot, that I need to understand how to acquire customers, how to run the sales process. So that was the biggest challenge for me as a founder and as a person who really would like to build a growing company. As I mentioned, the opportunity comes from the market, and I just got this opportunity. So then I spent a lot of time in understanding marketing, sales processes, and the value behind that. What is also challenging right now is context switching. I'm not saying about the multitasking, because that's fine to do few things in the same time. However, the context switching between the engineering, administration, marketing, and sales, that's a challenge to still be up to date with all these activities, learning a lot, understanding the limits, but moving forward with all these things together to provide the high quality of the services and still feel some fun from doing that.
Yeah, absolutely. Wearing many different hats, obviously, in a business. I know that only too well, right? I'm filming this podcast this morning, and then in an hour I'll be doing something completely different.
Yes.
But that's part of the fun of it, right? And no doubt you feel the same. So just to talk a little bit about how needCode could be differentiated from other players in the space. So when you look at outsourcing businesses or project-based companies and consultancies, some of the largest businesses in the world are actually consultancy businesses. So you look at Tata Consultancy Services, nearly 700,000 people, 5,000 people just in their embedded engineering department. Why do companies look to businesses like yours as opposed to hiring staff? And why is needCode a little bit different?
So I believe thanks to the scale that you currently have, this is the 30 people right now, I can have the direct contact with my every single engineer and deeply understanding their commitment, their engagement. The same for the customers. Having the short list of the customers helped me also to talk to the customer representative directly, deeply understand their challenges. And how I see that is we are not just providing the consulting services. So we are not just, let's say, fill the requirements, just do the checkboxes. We really believe in the relationship, long-term relationship, deeply understanding of the challenges, usually asking difficult questions to the customers to either let us understand their challenges very well and as well open their minds into the things that we've already struggled in the past. So I believe this individual approach, when I'm still involved in every single stage, this is the key difference between ourselves and the big consulting companies, which I believe treat most of the customers project based. I feel the relationship with the customers is the most important thing. The same as with the engineers that I have a great relationship with.
Got it, got it. So, because you're a more of a boutique size, you're able to act as the engagement manager for the customer relationship and deep dive into what the individual engineers are doing, keep them honest with targets and the involvement that they have within that project, and to make sure that the service of a high level. Now, the question is here, Bartek, of course, is when you scale the business, is the aspiration to grow it to hundreds of people? And if it is, how do you keep that same level of service?
So I believe that our goal is to grow up to the 100, 150 people. And then, of course, that would be the challenge to keep this level of the services. However, I've been working with a few of my engineers for last 8 years, and I believe that they are completely ready to step in my shoes, to step in my idea of running the business, managing the customers. So I believe we can replicate what we did in a needCode with 30 people, with the same sized teams, with the well-prepared managers that I have full trust. I fully trusted them. And then I believe they also understand what is the value and the mission of needCode. This is not just we decided and we write it. This is something what we cultivate for the last 8-10 years together. So I believe by this level that would be still doable for myself and the team. And during those time, I believe we are also might be much more mature with all the processes. So then it's still, I will still would like to be involved in every single project with every single customer. However, what I would like to do is to step out from the more administration work, more office management work, and things like that, as well as the project execution work. So I would like to keep the relationship maintenance, keep the engagement of my engineers. However, I have a list of the things that I believe I can stop doing without sacrificing the quality and the way that we do the business.
Yeah, no, it makes a lot of sense. Very logical. I think with the people that you've trusted and worked with for a number of years, hopefully they can grow into team leads and business unit managers and start to take some of that responsibility from your shoulders onto theirs, and hopefully enable that growth on that scale to 100, 150 people, as you say. So, very, very best of luck with that. And I'm no doubt you'll be successful with it. To talk a little bit more about actual needCode's capabilities and offerings then. So we've spoken a lot about Bluetooth, low energy, and connectivity. Can we take a deep dive into why someone might want to work with needCode and where your crux of knowledge really is?
Okay, sure. So I believe there are at least two major things that potential customers should consider selecting the company like needCode. First of all, we have a very flexible approach to the customers, to the projects, and we always offer the tailored solution. We can offer the full product development cycle from the idea via proof of concept MVP to commercialization of the projects, as well as just the staff augmentation for the existing teams at the customer sites. We identified two different types of the customers. First one is the customers who has an idea for the great projects, great products, but they are not very deep into the technology. So that's the customers we would like to help them to join this IoT journey with us, helping them to use the best technologies, use the best process to provide their products to the market. The second type of the customers are the people like the technical leaders, managers in the companies with a significant technical knowledge. However, they lack of hands to work. So for those customers, we help to source and select the best candidates that can be seamlessly integrated with the existing teams, providing the missing part of the skill set of the experience. And then going into those experience and the skill set, thanks to working with a semiconductor manufacturer, we are deeply involved in defining the technology we are working with. This comes with Bluetooth Low Energy or ultra wideband, where we create the very low level parts of the software for the chips. Then working together with the committees, standardization bodies on the standards and implementing them as the communication stacks, and then building and providing the example applications and SDKs that in the end are the things that end customers are supposed to use to build their products. So we are on this full path of creating the things that should be included in the end products. So that position ourselves in the more engineering-wise approach rather than just software development. We deeply understand what to do, how to do that, and what is even more and the big value for the customer is even if we allocate few people from my team into the project, we still have an input from the entire team. The guys came from different industries. However, they are still focused on the connectivity and low power systems. So usually at the beginning of projects, we have a brainstorms, meet much more engineers than finally would be involved in the projects. And we combine all the great ideas, asking the questions that I mentioned before and finding together with the customers the best approach and the best answers for this approach. So the clue here is that you get much more than you just pay in the end in terms of the people allocation. This is much more. This is engineering services and deeply understanding of the project goals.
Yeah, that's a really good answer. And I appreciate that. I think it's because of the team that you have and the ingrained nature of the work that you're doing with that semiconductor manufacturer and being able to replicate some of that elsewhere, right? And I think you're specifically working on the standards as well, right, at a very low level, which gives you really good knowledge of that. And I think that's really, really useful. Just moving on to some of the common customer problems that people have. What typically are the pain points that customers have experienced? So you spoke earlier around, you started your journey working on Upwork and looking for people doing POCs to raise capital, etc. So one would imagine they're at the very start of their journey. But other businesses that you're working with, is it integration? Is it bug fixing? Is it just a lack of knowledge around connectivity standards? What is the common theme that you see?
So the common thing I see when talking with the customers about their projects, we sometimes customers came to us when they are in the middle of the project, and the biggest issue I believe they challenge is that they have no support in defining the requirements. They get a help in implementing the requirements just by the software developers from A to Z. And they really sometimes need a support from the companies who understand their goals, who understand the market, understand the end users, as well as deeply understand the standards. What we do with our customers, we have a great discovery calls, deeply understanding where they would like to be. And then thanks to deeply understanding multiple standards such as Zigbee, Matter, Bluetooth Low Energy, ultra wideband, things like that, we can assist them to select best technologies. We usually have the situations that the customers come to us and say, hey, let's build a solution for me with this technology. And then I'm talking with them. Why? What would you like to achieve? And in the end, it appears that we're supposed to use other technologies that much better fits into their needs and to their goal of their projects. And then it comes into the high quality of development. If you just would like to have few developers assigned to your projects, then there are great outsourcing companies around the world. But if you would like to have support and if you would like to have this deep understanding of your projects, this is where are we. And I believe this is the major issue and major challenge of our customers. Of course, apart from the lack of the experienced software developers around the world, that is the common case that our customers coming to us. If they live, let's say, in the US, in the Iowa state, let's say, there is few big tech companies that source all the embedded software developers. And if you are a smaller company, you cannot provide to the engineers all these benefits or this really competitive salary, then you have no people to do your job. And that's where we provide these extra services as well as have these people already on board and still having the vast network in Krakow, in Poland. We can source the very complex skill set combinations of our engineers.
Yeah. I can completely agree. And in terms of that last point, the vast network. So, you've been able to scale from 1 to 30 people in just a few years. Have you considered when that network depletes or when you're not able to add people that you already know? What is the plan around that? How do you get it to the next stage? Is it through advertising for roles to join your company, or have you considered that?
So honestly speaking, I have a bad experience with just advertising the role, because then I have like 150 candidates that just waste my time for reviewing all of them. The good thing about the network is that if new people join, the network automatically expands with their friends, their colleagues, their environment. That's one thing. So this network, thanks to growing, is growing internally just because joining those people. And apart from that, I also have a great relationship with one of the best headhunter in Poland, I need to say. This is the only only person I talked to when I was looking for a job. A lot of headhunters, a lot of recruiters called me, and that one guy is really understand how to build the relationship. So he also expand our networks, and if we required a given skill set of the candidates, he is helping us to source for such candidates. And combining this growing network with the great skills of our headhunter help us to fulfill the requirements, to find the great candidates within 4 to 6 weeks between starting the project and really kicking off and onboarding the candidate.
Got it. Yeah, and I can understand that because, of course, there's some headhunters that are good and some not so good. And of course, shameless plug here, we got you the original role at Corvo, right, within my businesses, right?
Yes.
So I think our business and maybe the people that you're working with at the moment, some are good, some not so good. But I agree. Also, there's a lot of people around, and sifting through can be challenging, right?
Yes,
So you
this
really
was
have
exactly what happened to me. The person I talked to about this Corvo project also understood how to build the relationship, was supporting for me, and this is something what I would like to multiplicate with my headhunter here in the Polish job market. And
excellent.
I believe we're also investing for the last 5 years in employee branding. So also when I visit some kind of the software conferences, needCode as a brand is start being recognizable. So that's great. And again, living in the area like Krakow, where there's a lot of IoT and the connectivity businesses, also helps to have then access to that vast network. So this all is, let's say, well established, and I believe it can grow together with the company.
Yeah. Okay. Excellent. I think, look, that's a really good overview of the business and the structure and how you've grown and where you want to go in the future. Bringing it back to IoT specifically, then clearly as a CEO and founder that's working at the coalface in IoT technologies for companies. I'd be really interested to know what your predictions are on market trends and challenges moving forward. Future of IoT. IoT was a hype word for many years, and then AI came along and disjointed it. But of course, now we're talking about edge AI capabilities and using IoT at the edge and incorporating the coalition of different technological advancements at the moment. Where do you think we're going with IoT and certain technologies like ultra wideband and low energy? What does the future look like in your view, Bartek?
So in general, I believe that the quality of the solutions is the key. Right now, we have a bunch of different standards, different approaches. Some of them are still proprietary. So where I see the industry and where the business should go is to make sure that the IoT and the connected solutions shouldn't be a luxury good, should be rather the commodity. So we need to think about the quality. People needs to think about the IoT as the goods like mobile phone, headphones, or personal laptops. This is where I see that all the IoT technology should go. Improving the quality means the solution should be much more reliable, robust, and easy of use. We cannot fight with the different type of the interoperability issues, let's say. So that's where I see the most of the investment should take place, to let people know that this is not a gadget, this is an everyday good product to be used. If we reach that point, the security and the cost of the solutions becomes very, very important. So you mentioned about the AI. So I really believe in edge computing and AI for IoT. So we need to make sure that bringing much more products to the market, we cannot empower still the cloud solutions where that might be expensive for the huge amount of data. We need to fully utilize the compute power of every single devices. So putting more AI into the edge devices is the next thing that I believe IoT would grow. And the last but not least is all the security, all the compliance things around the connectivity, the devices. We need to take care about the privacy. We need to take care about the security, because the more products we have in our houses, we need to make sure that nobody can break into that. As you can imagine, the entire network is that secure as the weakest part of this network. So I believe this is the three main directions where the IoT product manufacturers, where the companies like design houses should really focus on. I believe we have enough great technologies to provide the significant change in the everyday life for the people, but we need to focus on this quality, security, and ease of use and interoperability.
Yeah, I agree. I think they're the three main aspects, Bartek, that people are talking about at the moment. I have a question for you, and I talk a lot to people about this, and as you know, somewhat of a thought leader in IoT and edge AI. Do you think the consumer will ever understand the security and privacy risks with some of the devices that they have? So we're talking now for the benefit of the podcast on the 24th of March, 25. In 4 days' time, Amazon are going to harvest and collect all of the voice commands that people talk into their Alexa devices, whether people like it or not, right? And it's been announced, okay? But do you think that the consumers are fully going to grasp this? And do you think they care? And if they don't care, is this going to cause an issue with security getting better in general? What are your views on that?
So I believe as usual, even in terms of the security in the generic internet, usually the weakest point of that security is usually the human, the person who clicks the link, who has no updates in their software, who can just be scammed, let's say. That's the weakest point of that, of the security in the modern systems. If we talk about the IoT products, usually they are working without customers, without humans interactions. It means clicking or opening the things that are not intended to run. So all the responsibility for the security and privacy sits on the manufacturers, on the products company. So if they do their job well and they provide the software updates regularly and they take care about the customers, I believe that it might be secure enough. The last thing we might consider is if we trust such companies, if the customers would trust companies like Amazon, companies like Google. However, I believe nowadays all the things are on the internet, are on the digital platforms like mobile phones, like home assistants, things like that. So I believe we get that trust. And those companies need to do everything to do not lose that trust. And the new companies who thinks about some products, they need to prove that they are compliant with the latest regulations and even do something above that to ensure that they treat all the confidential informations within the secure way. And then that's the second part of that is this edge AI. So computing more things on a device and try to transmit only the decisions based on that rather than all raw data. So I believe we are going in the good directions, and the people are currently used to the things that they have their emails on cloud, they have all the photos on cloud, they publish all the things on the social networks. So I believe that shouldn't be a big deal to get the next steps in terms of the privacy and security, and people are ready for that.
Yeah. Very, very good. Bartek, you speak incredibly knowledgeably about this, and I see why you've done well over the years as both an individual contributor and growing your business at needCode. It's been absolutely great having you on the podcast. I've really, really enjoyed the conversation today. Where can people find out more about needCode?
So for sure, we have the website, needCode's.io, when you can find better described our services, our offering and case studies. We also run the blog where we publish some articles, and you also can book a meeting with me over the website. And of course, you can find needCode and myself at LinkedIn, where I would really appreciate if we connect and start some chatting about your thoughts, about your challenges. And I really appreciate opportunities to discuss with the people from the business, because I strive for excellence in understanding their challenges, and that really helped me to shape the needCode's offering for the next months, next years.
Excellent. Fantastic. Bartek, thank you for joining me today on the IoT Podcast Show.
Thank you, John, for hosting. Thank you, everybody, for listening to us. Hope we can join our paths in the future.